I remember when I was younger going out in the garden with my dad, and we'd dig up different vegetables, and we'd pick corn, and we'd harvest tomatoes, and we'd just have a good time out in the garden. But I always loved getting into the carrots. And the problem with newer varieties of the carrots is not only are they really, really sweet and delicious, better than some of the older varieties of carrots that just aren't as sweet and tender, but they're so tender that the tops just break off when you try and pull them up out of the ground. So we found that with our carrots, when they start to mature, we've got to dig them up with a fork. Now, our carrots haven't had as long to mature as I usually like. I usually like to dig those up after they've had about 100 to 120 days to really mature, but in some cases they're ready in about 75 days, which is about where we're at with our carrots. And we got ours planted a little bit later this year just because the weather was uncooperative this spring. Kind of wet, kind of cold. Didn't get out and get the carrots dug, so I like to use a nice digging fork. Great for digging potatoes, great for digging all kinds of root crops. Don't really need it with the onions, but with the carrots it really helps because it makes it so you don't have to break the tops off the carrots. It's a lot of work. And let's see what the carrots look like. I got them thinned pretty well, but maybe not as well as I would like. Oh, and see, they're coming along really well. They need a little bit more time, but look at the length on the carrots. Most of those are like 5 to 6 inches long, and they're just really starting to fill out really well. So this is a variety that's called sweet ingot, and we love the sweet ingot because they've got just a nice tender texture to them and a really great sweet flavor. They end up growing about 6 to 8 inches long, and they store really, really well throughout the winter time. So sweet ingot looks like they're maturing really well. I've got some smaller carrots in there also, but great time to dig the carrots is usually between latter part of August through the first part of October. That's when they're really going to be sweet, and they're going to be mature and ready to eat. But at that point, you can kind of store your carrots for the winter time. We'll either cover the carrots with a nice layer of mulch. Leaves work great. There's a lot of different composts and mulches that you can use, and sometimes we'll even use just like bags of leaves. So just the plastic garbage bags of leaves, we'll just put them right over the carrots. They'll keep right in the ground throughout the winter time really well. Otherwise, we'll dig them up. We'll put them in about 1 inch or 2 of sand, and then just layer the carrots, and then put another 1 inch or 2 of sand on top of them, and then layer the carrots again, another 1 inch or 2 of sand on top of them. And we can fill a tote with carrots and sand, and they'll keep all winter long in the cold storage, just as if they were in the ground. And you'll pull them out of that sand, and they'll be nice and crisp and delicious and perfect. So there's a couple different ways you can store the carrots through the winter time. But when you start digging carrots out that look like that, we'll get those washed up, and we'll start eating some nice early carrots, and they'll be sweet and delicious. And I can hardly wait to get them inside.